Okay, so good day everyone. Today, let me demonstrate to you how a simple calculator is made. This is the look of our simple calculator. So it has the text field and then the buttons. We have 16 buttons. We have 16 buttons for our simple calculator. So for the simple calculator, we have two panels. One This is one panel that holds the txt field, and then this is another panel which has 16 buttons. For our entire frame, the layout manager used is border layout. The panel 1, which has the text field, is set at the north part, and then the panel 2, which has buttons, is set at the center of the border layout. For the panel 2 is a J panel object. So for a J panel object, the default layout for that is a flow layout, but we change it to grid layout. So it's a 4x4 grid layout object. For grid layout, we have these buttons. Okay, these are added in our panel 2, and then the panel 2. Okay, so grid layout for the panel 2, and then the panel 2 is added at the center of our panel. Okay, so let me show to you now the code for our simple calculator. So first is I have here a simple calculator class. So it has two instance variables, the number 1 and the number 2, and then I have here constructors that will allow the programmer to set for the two values, and then simple calculator constructor, a default constructor, and then getters, setters, the operations for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And then this class is used in another class which is called the simple calculator GUI. So for our simple calculator GUI, so actually we can just create a very simple solution for a simple calculator, and especially that if it is for one use only. But this simple calculator will actually allow the user to, even if you have generated already the total, you can still do some operations to that particular value. Okay, so for our simple calculator GUI, this is an event-driven program, so we are importing the java.awt. This is for the layout manager, such as grid layout, border layout. We also import javabox.swing because we are using the classes such as jbutton, jtextfield. We have the jframe and others. And then java.awt.event, this is for our action listener, and decimal format from the java.text. This is for the formatting purpose of our display. So the simple calculator is not a subclass of a JFrame, therefore we will create a JFrame object. And then the simple calculator GUI implements action listener. Expect that there is an action performed within this class. So for buttons, diba, I showed to you 16 buttons. So because it's not okay to declare 16 buttons, so instead of declaring button 1, button 2 up to button 16, I have here an array of buttons. So I name it btns, and then it is an array of buttons. Later we will be instantiating this. And then I have txt show. This is for showing the output. SC is an object of the simple calculator, and then DC is for formatting purpose. So the first number is a variable that will hold the first value or the first operand, second number for the second operand, and then for the operator pressed by the user. And then these are other instance variables I created because it's possible that after generating the result will be used as your first number, and then you press another second number, and so on and so forth, for continuity purposes. That is why I have here whether there is already an operator, whether there is already a second operand, whether there is a first operand, and then we set the result to 0, whether there is already a result, and then the str first is for the first number in text. This will be put to the txt show and also the str second. So, and then the is first and the is second is or are created because again, it's possible to let the result as our first number. That is why I have this instance variable is first and is second. So again, the simple calculator GUI is not a subclass of the JFrame class. That is why I have here the object of the JFrame. So frame, new frame, and then we set the size of this to 300 by 300 pixels. And then the title of our frame is simple calculator. And then I have two panels. The panel 1 has txt show and panel 2 has the buttons. So we will have the grid layout as our layout manager for panel 2. So here I instantiated panel 1 and panel 2, and then I specify the size, the number of characters good for the txt show, because we add the txt show to a panel, and then the default layout manager for a panel is flow layout man. It's not border layout nor grid layout. So it is dependent to the number of characters that we will be specifying. Okay, that is why I have there 20. And then this is how to instantiate the SC. So my SC now is an instance of a simple calculator. And then just for alignment purposes, I have here txt show that set horizontal alignment J text field at the right part. By default, our frame is resizable, and then I make our frame for calculator not resizable, so I have here false. So the txt show is added to panel 1, and then the panel 1 is set at the border at the north part of our frame, and then the panel 2 is set with the grid layout 4x4 layout. And then so ready na nga to ang panel 1 o ang panel 2. So after that, since na prepare naman ang layout manager sa to ang panel 2, okay naman si panel 1, added naman si txt show. So ato na sang i-ready ang mga labels para sa to ang button. So for the first row, we have 7, 8, 9 and plus. Second row 4, 5, 6 minus. Third row 1, 2, 3 multiplication. Fourth row you have 0, cancel, equal, and divide. So karon, let's proceed now to the instantiation of our buttons. Let's create the 16 buttons now. So we have here buttons, new button, new button. So this is to create number of buttons pa. So kung pila ka buok ang labels nato dere, so we have 16 labels. This should also be the number of buttons we will be creating. So we have here btn's new J button label that length. So whatever is the length of our label will also be the length of our btns. For our buttons, we have to instantiate each of this, and then this button should this button should be registered. This button should listen to the response when an event is generated. So that is why we have here btns subscript I new J button, and then we add the label here so that our buttons will have label. Okay, so this will be added until the 16th button, and then each of the button is now listening to the response of the event. So you have here add action listener listening to the response of this class, to the object of this class. And then all the buttons are added. So you have btn subscript 0, 1, 2, 3 until 15. So that will be added to panel 2. So the panel 2 now has all the buttons, necessary buttons for our calculator. We now add the panel 2 to our frame. Okay, so we are not specifying the location of the border layout, because the default region where a component will be added is the center. So meaning to say the panel 2 will be added at the center of the border layout. And if you remember, if the other regions are not occupied, then the center will occupy the unoccupied regions as well. So set visible, we have there true because by default the frame is invisible, and then we'll also change the default close operation to exit on close because the default close operation for that is running the program is hidden and but it is still running, so we change it to exit on close. So here we are also instantiating our DC. We will be using this so that our output will be up to 2 decimal places only. So no changes for the main. We will simply create the object of the simple calculator GUI here. So ready na to ang graphical user interface, na ang mga labels, na ang mga buttons, naminaw na itong mga buttons. Let's now do the necessary response. Okay, so there are 16 buttons. So we have here 0 up to btns.length. Okay, because there are 16 buttons, and any button will be clicked by the user. So if the user will click the button, okay, will click the button, and then when the user will click a button which is a cancel, then the cancel method is invoked. So what does it mean when we cancel an operation? So na-reset tanan back to result will be reset to 0, and then walay first number, walay second number, walay result, walay first, walay operator. So everything will be kanang back to its original, to their original values. But else, if the character press, so we have their text that char at 0 because if you notice the buttons has one, diba? We have only one character for each button. So we have digits and we have operators. These are the labels of our buttons. They could be operators, digits, or cancel. Okay, diba? We have cancel, we have operators, and we have digits. So we're done with the cancel. So the possible buttons that can be clicked now by the user could be digits or operators. So we have now this one. If the button, so you have here, if character that is digit, text that char at index 0. Remember the text is coming from, diba? We have here text btn subscript I that get text. We get the label of that button, so assigned to text now. Okay, so we check the text if it is a digit. So if it is a digit and there is no first number yet, meaning to say no assigned number 1 yet or first number, then we will simply what? Concatenate the number to the str first. So concatenate ko tanis, for example 5, first value is 5, then you have 6, so you have it becomes 5 6 3, for example, so you have 3 digits now, you can have 4 digits, so pwede. Okay, that is why nagpabilin siya nga text kay posible manggod nga ang iyang first number has 2 decimal numbers or 3 or 4 digits. So di lang kani siya nga calculator will not just handle so na katong 1 digit nga number, but is capable of having 2 numbers, 3 numbers, 4 numbers, and others. Okay, so ato na siyang gisumpay. Kung unsa may gi-click ni user, isumpay ra na siya kung wala pay first nga number. And then after that, ato da yung assignan si first nga naa na siya first. Okay, so S first now is true, and then atong gi-show dito sa text field ang str first. Whatever is click by the user, so mapuno na siya dito na ma-show. So for example, na ito 5, so mayroon siyang 5, pag click og 6 mayroon 5 6, pag click og 3 mayroon 5 6 3. Ana. And then if the character pressed is a digit and then wala pay second nga operand, okay, so sumpay-sumpay lang nagyapon para sa nahitabo ganiha sa first nga kanang operand. Sumpay-sumpay lang, and then ato na dayong iset ang second to true. then whatever numbers ang ipang press sa user, masumpay-sumpay ra na siya dito, ibutang niya sa txt show. Okay. Dayon, let's check. If the text is not a digit, and then wala pay operator, no operator yet, then the label or the button that is clicked by the user will be set as the operator. Kaya diba, manatag cancel. So kung di siya digit, it is possibly an operator. So ato na siyang giset as operator. So you have here, kung if there is already a first operand and then okay, is this the first? So we check no whether it is the first operator, and then naa na bay or wala pa bay first nga operand. So kung wala pa first nga operand, then kadtong nasumpay-sumpay kaganiha sa str first will be our first number. So kanang first number ato na siyang ipasa ngadto sa set number ni simple calculator class, diba? The simple calculator has a method set number man. So ipasa na siya dito. We have now the number 1. So nanatay number 1. And then set to empty na nimo si str first kay imo naman napasa na siya nga to as the first number. So empty ato lang gi-set si txt show to empty. So makabantay mo later nga press niya sa operator, for example, ma-empty ang kanang mo-empty ang ato ang text field. So nanatay first and then nanasagtay operator. And then for the second one, if ever dili gyapon siya digit and then naanay operator, meaning to say nanay first, nanay operator, so kulang na lang siya og second nga operand. So let's have here. So is this the second? And then wala pa by second. So kung wala pa second nga operand, then ato to siyang kuhaon ang naa sa str second, and then atong i-parse. Let's make it double kay para ready for divide no, kay di ba when we divide integer by integer, the result is an integer man, so gi-double na lang nato kay para ma-accommodate na to ang decimal numbers nga na. So example, you have 5 divided by 2, it will give a decimal result because naka-double man nga to ang number. So karon ato siyang gi-parse to double and then assign to second number, we set as the number 2 of simple calculator. So karon we have already the second operand, and then atong gi-set to space na si str second, naka-set to empty also si txt show. Okay, now let's proceed now to the operator. So nakuha naman to ang operator. Now let's now check the operator. If the operator is a plus, then we will simply what? Result receives sc.add. Imurang gi-call si add. Anyway, na naman to yung number 1 no, na may number 2, nakaset naman sila. And then, giset na nato ang has resulted true. Meaning to say, we have already generated the result. Okay, naanay result. So, ato na dayong kani si result is ato nang format to 2 decimal places, and then atong set to txt show. Okay, so ma-show na dito sa txt show nga text field. So possible nga igkahuman niya og click sa equal, ang kadtong result himuon niya nga first number. That is why I have here first number receives result, and then iset na sad nato as the first number si result. You have your result receives first number, whatever is the result is now our first number. Ana. So pagka na-consider na nato ang result as our first number, reset tatanan. Okay, meaning to say kita si has true kay ma-false sad to siya, first ma-false sad to siya, and so on and so forth. So katong naa sa cancel bali. Okay, na reset same ra sa cancel. Okay. So pag minus, so subtract nga method ang tawagon gikan kang simple calculator, and then nanay result. So i-show na sa dito sa txt show, and then again whatever is the result will be assigned to the first number. Ano ra ang buhaton, and so on. So same with the multiply, same with the divide. Okay, and so on and so forth. So muna siya tong reset, no, and our cancel. So ang difference ra gid sa ato ang reset ug cancel kay nalag, diba? Okay, so no much difference. There is, because for reset there is already the has first, and then for the cancel it is false. Okay, mo din siya ang ato ang difference. Okay, so ana atong reset. So we're done. Let's now try our simple calculator. So this is our simple calculator. Let's try 7. So 8, sumpay-sumpay ra niya, no? Ana, and then pag click niya plus, anay first nawagtang kay atong tong empty, and then 4, 5, 6. Pag press ang equal yatong i-total tanan, 'di ba? And then pag minus nimo, nahimo na tong first number si 1 2 3 4 5. And pag minus nimo, let's say 1 2 3, pag press og equal, okay, and then pag let's say ato siyang minusan og 1 1 2 2 1 1 2 2, so that is now 0. And then pag multiply ni mog 3, that is still 0. Then pag plus ni mog 6, that is now 6. When you press the cancel, so mo ma 0 na to ang iyahang result. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.